Deuteronomy chapter 17. You shall not sacrifice to the Lord your God an ox or a sheep that has any blemish or defect, because the Lord abhors this. If there is among you in any of the towns which the Lord is giving you a man or a woman who is found doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord and breaking his covenant, by serving other gods and bowing before them to the sun or the moon or the stars of heaven, which I have forbidden, and this has been reported to you, or you learn of it, you shall make a careful investigation. If it is proved that this abomination has indeed been committed in Israel, you shall bring to the city gate that man or woman who has committed this evil deed to be stoned to death. But you will need the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses to condemn anyone to death. No one shall be condemned on the evidence of only one witness. The hands of the witness shall be the first to throw the stones to kill the guilty. Afterwards all the people shall follow suit. In this way you shall purge the evil from your midst. If a very difficult case is presented to you which you cannot resolve in the city tribunal, whether it be a case of murder, legal dispute, or physical injury, you shall go out to the place that will be chosen by the Lord your God. You shall approach the Levitical priest and the judge in office at that time. You shall consult them, and they will declare to you the decision on the case. You shall carry out the decision that they have made for you in the place that will be chosen by the Lord, and you shall act carefully in accordance with what they have instructed you. You shall faithfully follow the instructions of the verdict they have given you, without turning aside either to the right or to the left from the decision they made for you. He who dares to act in a presumptuous manner and does not listen to the priest who is in office in the service of the Lord your God, or to the judge, that man shall be put to death. You shall purge the evil from Israel. So all the people on hearing this shall be afraid and will not act presumptuously anymore. King, when you come to the land which the Lord your God is giving you and have taken possession of it and are living in it, you might say, let me appoint a king over me, like all the neighboring nations. Then you have to appoint a king chosen by the Lord your God from among your brothers. You shall not appoint a foreigner, one who is not a fellow Israelite. Your king shall not acquire a great number of horses or send his people to Egypt to acquire more horses, for the Lord has commanded you never to go back that way. Neither shall he increase the number of his wives, lest they pervert his heart. Neither shall he pile up gold or silver. When he ascends the royal throne, let him write on a scroll a copy of this law from the book of the Levite priest for his use. He shall keep it with him and read it every day of his life, that he may learn to respect the law, keeping all the words of the law and putting into practice all these statutes. So let him not become conceited so as to look down on his people, nor turn aside from this commandment either to the right or to the left, so that he and his children may reign for a long time in the midst of Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 18. Priest. The Levitical priest, the whole tribe of Levi, shall have no share or inheritance as the rest of the children of Israel have. But the offerings by fire in honor of the Lord and the portions due to him will be their sustenance. The Levite shall have no share in the inheritance received by the rest of Israel, because the Lord is his inheritance as he has promised. This is what will come to the priest by right from what is offered by the people as a sacrifice. Whether ox or sheep, to the priest shall be given the shoulder, the jaws, and the stomach. You shall also give him the first fruits of your grain, your wine, and your oil, as well as the first wool from your shearing, the shearing of your sheep. For the Lord chose him from among all the tribes to officiate as priest and bless in the Lord's name, he and his children forever. If a Levite comes from one of the towns anywhere in Israel where he resides, and he wishes to enter into the place chosen by the Lord, he shall serve there in the name of the Lord his God, like any of his Levite brothers who officiate there with him in the presence of the Lord. He shall have an equal share for his sustenance, regardless of what he has obtained from the sale of his family goods. Prophets, when you have entered into the land which the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not imitate the detestable practices of those nations. You shall not have in your midst anyone who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, or one who practices divination, a soothsayer or a sorcerer, or one who practices enchantments, or who consults the ghost or a wizard, or one who asks questions to the dead. For the Lord detests those who indulge in these things, and it is precisely because of these detestable practices that the Lord your God is dispossessing them before you. You must be blameless in the presence of the Lord your God. These nations that you are to dispossess listen to the soothsayers and diviners, but the Lord your God has provided you with something different. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like myself from your midst. From among your own people to him you shall listen. Remember all that you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, I am afraid to die, and I do not want to hear the voice of the Lord my God again, or have sight again of that raging fire. So the Lord said to me, They have spoken well. I shall raise up a prophet from their midst, one of their brothers who will be like you. I will put my words into his mouth, and he will enjoin on them all that I command. If someone does not listen to my words when the prophet speaks on my behalf, I myself will call him to account for it. But if any prophet who speaks presumptuously in my name by saying anything that I did not command, or speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. You will perhaps ask, how am I to know that the word does not come from the Lord? If a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, but what he says does not happen or come true, you shall know that the word has not come from the Lord. The prophet has spoken presumptuously, and you have nothing to fear from him. Psalm chapter 79. Plea for mercy on Jerusalem. O God, the nations have invaded your inheritance. They have defiled your holy temple and reduced Jerusalem to rubble. They have given the corpses of your servants as food to the birds of the air, and the flesh of your faithful to the beasts of the earth. They have poured out the blood of your faithful like water around Jerusalem, and there is no one to bury them. We have become the scorn of our neighbors, mocked and reviled by those around us. How long will this last, O Lord? Will you be angry forever? Will your jealous wrath always burn like fire? Pour out your anger on the nations that do not acknowledge you, on the kingdoms that do not call on your name. For they have devoured Jacob and laid waste his homeland. Do not remember against us the sins of our fathers. May your compassion come quickly to meet us, for we have been brought very low. Help us, O God, our salvation, for the glory of your name. Give not the nations a chance to say, Where is their God? Before our eyes, let them know that you avenge the blood of your servants. Listen to the groans of the prisoners. By the strength of your arm, deliver those doomed to die. Repay our neighbors sevenfold, O Lord, for the taunts with which they taunted you. Then we, your people, the flock of your pasture, will thank you forever. We will recount your praise through all generations. Luke chapter 1, verse 1 to 20. Announcement of the birth of John. In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there lived a priest named Zechariah, belonging to the priestly clan of Abijah. Elizabeth, Zechariah's wife, also belonged to a priestly family. Both of them were upright in the eyes of God and lived blamelessly in accordance with all the laws and commands of the Lord, but they had no children. Elizabeth was barren, and now they were both very old. Now while Zechariah was serving in the temple along with the priest of his division, whose turn it was to serve, it fell to him by lot, according to the custom of the priest, to enter the sanctuary of the Lord and burn incense. While all the people who had gathered for the incense service were praying outside, an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing on the right side of the altar of incense. On seeing the angel, Zechariah was deeply troubled, and fear took hold of him. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah. Be assured that your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you shall name him John. He will bring joy and gladness to you, and many will rejoice at his birth. This son of yours will be great in the eyes of the Lord. Listen, he shall never drink wine or strong drink. He will be filled with the Holy Spirit even from his mother's womb. He will bring back many of the people of Israel to the Lord their God. He himself will open the way to the Lord with the spirit and power of the prophet Elijah. He will reconcile fathers and children and lead the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, in order to make ready for the Lord a people prepared." Zechariah said to the angel, "How can I believe this? I am an old man, and my wife is getting old in years." The angel replied, "I am Gabriel, who stands before God, and I have been sent to speak to you and bring you this good news. But because you have not believed my words, which will come true at the proper time, you will be mute and unable to speak until this has happened."